Today we are diving into the fascinating differences between boomers born between 1946 and 1964 and millennials born between 1981 and 1996.
And I think there needs to be mutual understanding. Of course, solutions are only going to come about if we all work together on this, but I think older generations do really need to understand that things are so tough right now in ways that older generations have never experienced.
Generational gaps are more than just an age difference. In fact, they shape how we view the world, technology, work, and even entertainment. So let's explore some differences between boomers and millennials. Number 10, technology. When it comes to technology, the differences between boomers and millennials are striking.
Each generation has a very different approach as it relates to technology. Let's look at what they are.
Boomers grew up in an era where technology was not prevalent. In fact, many of their experiences with computers came later in life, often in the workplace. Whereas millennials, technology is deeply integrated into their daily lives as they grew up with internet, smartphones, and social media. Millennials pretty much do everything on their phones, including banking, emails, social media, streaming music and videos, and using apps for various services such as ride-sharing and food delivery. Boomers prefer tried and true methods of communication like phone calls or face-to-face meetings over new methods such as collaboration on Slack, Asana, or Trello even. Number 9, work ethic.
Hey, Gen X Millennial, do you have a good work ethic? It doesn't take me as long to get the job done as it does the baby boomers.
The most common word hurled at millennials was entitled. They were called snowflakes and were criticized for needing constant validation. While it's true that millennials excel in tech skills, boomers often hold the edge in traditional work ethic. You know, working hard instead of hardly working. Boomers find value in a hard day's work and commitment, whereas millennials may seek more work-life balance or pursue non-traditional careers, such as Amazon sellers or social media influencers. Today, it may be accurate that millennials can make more money faster, but those may also be the exceptions, not the rules. In terms of steady income, benefits, and commitment to retirement stability, boomers have the edge every time. Number 8. Communication.
This is one example of how the communication divide happens across generations. Right? One generation is going to want to meet with you face to face, another generation might want to email you, and then there's another generation that has no problem texting you while they're sitting right next to you. Right?
Communication styles between boomers and millennials can be challenging, to say the least. Boomers grew up in a time when the primary forms of communication were face-to-face meetings, landline phones, and handwritten letters. These forms of communication required more interpersonal skills and interaction, and often built strong personal relationships. Boomers valued authenticity and sincerity in their communication, whereas millennials are digital natives, having grown up with all the new technological advances. Their communication style is heavily influenced by these advancements. Apps such as WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and Snapchat provide quick and convenient modes of communication. High-speed internet has opened a world of platforms like Zoom, Skype, FaceTime to keep millennials connected with quick response rates. It keeps a generation connected like none other. Number 7, housing. For boomers, buying a house was a cornerstone of the American dream, seen as a crucial rite of passage. The journey often followed a clear path. Go to school, work hard, save up, purchase a home to raise their family. Economic factors that exist for millennials today include rising housing costs, student debt, and economic instability. Many millennials today see homeownership as unattainable and opt for renting. Millennials view renting as a lifestyle choice, offering more flexibility, job mobility, and opportunities to reside near other like-minded millennials. Number 6, marriage. In earlier decades, marriage was more of an exception. Part of the American dream was to have a spouse and children, hoping they would lead similar lives. Marriage often happened early, sometimes right out of college or even high school. However, as society progressed, millennials realized that marriage wasn't a requirement for a fulfilling life. Many waited as long as possible to get married, with 32 being the average age of first-time marriage. Number 5, spending money. If I were to give you $100 right now, how you choose to use it could reveal your generation. Many millennials might immediately think about how to spend it on something that improves their overall mood or well-being, viewing it as a chance to make themselves happy and enjoy a little extra cash. In contrast, boomers tend to be a little bit more frugal, They are wildly aware of the risks of spending money recklessly due to their experiences with multiple financial crises. While millennials have faced a few economic downturns, boomers who have seen the impact of financial instability take on more of a wise way of spending. Number 4, politics. Boomers have grown up in an era where trust in government institutions was generally higher. They also had more faith in the traditional political system and figures, and they often align with conservative values and prioritize stability and continuity. Millennials, shaped by events like the 2008 financial crisis and increased political strife, are more skeptical of traditional politics.
This was the time a decade ago when the financial crisis erupted, a crash that most experts did not foresee. Its effects and of the recession that followed on income, wealth, inequality, and our politics are still with us.
They are more likely to advocate for progressive policies, social justice, and systemic changes. Millennials are also much more active on social platforms when it comes to politics and use digital platforms to mobilize and voice their concerns. Number 3, the environment. Boomers and millennials differ significantly in their approach to the environment. Boomers who once led the charge in environmental activism during the 60s and 70s now prioritize convenience and economic growth. Often that leads to environmental concerns falling by the wayside. Millennials, having grown up with an awareness for climate change, are generally more eco-conscious and proactive and strong advocates for sustainable practices. Millennials will often support renewable energy, reduction of waste, and be active participants in environmental movements. They are often innovative and react urgently to combat environmental issues. Number 2, healthcare. Boomers and millennials have different approaches to healthcare shaped by their experiences and the times they grew up in. Boomers tend to trust their doctors and traditional healthcare systems, though they are often reluctant to seek medical attention until necessary. They often rely on their health insurance to cover the costs of any necessary treatments. In contrast, millennials faced with higher healthcare costs and less stable insurance coverage often turn to online resources to help solve pending medical issues. They will often explore alternative options, including telemedicine and digital health tools for convenience and cost effectiveness. Millennials also prioritize preventative care and wellness. And rounding out our list at number 1 are entertainment options. Entertainment has evolved dramatically. Boomers often recall black and white TV with limited channels, while millennials enjoy streaming services with endless content. Millennials got a taste of freedom, especially in 2010 when Instagram hit the scene. They became the generation that took pictures at brunch, relied on influencers to make product recommendations. Millennials are not as social as previous generations and rely more on streaming services, TikTok, and online shopping to keep them entertained. To be fair, boomers do use new technology as well. I can attest to that personally with my family. However, they're also just as fine watching one show and sticking to it, whereas millennials will flip through multiple channels, often showing more than one show at a time on the screen. And there you have it, everyone. A look at some of the differences between boomers and millennials. Can you believe how different these two are when you look at how they act or interact with things and people? What do you feel are the biggest differences between them? Comment below with your thoughts. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.